Hi, this is Mario Guerra, the two-time former mayor of the great city of Downey, and I'm here with my co-host, Eric Pierce, the editor of the Downey Patriot. And you're watching the Talking Downey with Mario.
And Eric. You did that in one take this time.
I know.
I think the audience doesn't, the viewers, the the listeners, they don't always see that it takes a couple times to do the intro, but that was in one time.
I know. The last tape that we did, the last show, I got the giggles, and the more I giggled, the more it's anyway. Yeah. So that's what he's making fun of. But yeah, Eric, this show we wanted to make it about the 6 candidates, the special election that's coming up in the Downey City Council.
Right.
So you want to tell everybody how we got to this?
I guess, I'm not a big politics person. And so this is the time of year that I dread. It's all the politics. But we do have to talk about it. So we're going to, let me take this from you. We have 6 candidates, 3 in each district. So back up. So we have 2 special elections in November. District 1, Southeast Downey, and District 3, Northwest Downey. That was Catherine Alvarez's seat. So we have 3 candidates in each. Let me go through them, and then maybe we'll talk about each one kind of quickly.
Right. So let me define the seats a little bit better. So District 1, Southeast Downey. Okay, so that was Keith McCarthy in the past. That was Dave Gaffin's seat. That was Blanca Pacheco that's had it. That's now the Assemblywoman. And that's why she resigned the Downey City Council to do that. So that's who's been in that seat, just to give him a little bit of perspective.
Sure.
So, and then on the Northwest one, on there, we've had people like Dr. Roger Brosmer that served us for 8 years, and I served with him. We have Rick Rodriguez that served us honorably. And then the reason that there's an open seat is because of the recall. 90% of the Downey residents voted for recall of that Catherine Alvarez lady that had some criminal past on there. So the 2 seats were open now at the same time, but that gives you a perspective of who it used to be in those seats to give you an idea.
And, I like that there's special elections because it tells me that voters are probably going to be a little bit better informed about who they're voting for, because to take the time out of your day to go vote when this is going to be the only thing on the ballot, it tells me they're probably taking it kind of serious. You probably did some research, and no matter who it is that you're voting for, you put some effort in. You put some time and effort, some research into it. So let me read the names, and then I'll read them, and then we'll talk about each one. So let's start with District 1. First candidate is Ramon Casas Jr. The other candidate, the second candidate, is Elvira Meraz, and the third candidate is Horacio Ortiz. Let's start with Ramon Casas. I don't know him. I follow him on social media. He is a high school teacher at St. John Bosco. Do you know him?
I don't know him. I just don't know him. I didn't know he was filing on there. It's too bad that he didn't do a candidate statement. So on the ballot, it won't show that. So, but I don't have anything good or not different about him.
Yeah, that's interesting that you wouldn't do one. He, from his social media, he seems like politically he's a conservative. The Downey Patriot, I can tell, is trying to schedule an interview with him so we can learn a little bit more about his platform and what it is that he wants to do. So I'm pulling it up right now, his social media, because we're trying to learn a little bit about him. He says he's a 3rd generation Downey citizen. He has a daughter who's a 4th generation. Let me see. He says, "Trust me, I will bring the proper conservative and family values back into Downey. I will preserve its traditions. I will increase our revenues and reduce our expenses and financial overhead. We will provide better wages and benefits for all of the city employees. The Parks and Recreation Department will have more funding, and we will provide more services for all of the Downey residents." That's on his social media.
Utopia, man. It's awesome. I want to live there.
How are you going to do it? How are you going to do it? I don't know how you're going to do it. Also, I'll keep my opinions to myself for now. But it's what does family values mean? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he wants
Are
to.
city staff underpaid? I bet you they would say that.
Well, yeah,
You know,
how
yeah.
you ask, but no, how are you going to raise money, to pay your staff? I don't know, but we'll ask him.
Well, ask him that.
If he
Very
comes,
fair.
if he comes on the show, we're inviting every candidate, and so I'm looking forward to the opportunity to ask him
Sure,
some
sure.
questions.
By the way, we want to make this clear. We've invited every candidate except him, but every candidate and most of them had accepted on there, and most of them have accepted and are coming here. I think people have seen us last year when we had the assembly race, where we had several people from both sides of the aisle. We asked them, and the majority of them showed up. And I think people can go back on our history and see that we're fair, no matter who we're endorsing or not endorsing, because our reputations are at stake here. We want to make sure that you, the listener, the viewer, are looking at this and saying, okay, those guys, they were fair to him. I mean, you know, he's the editor of the Downey Patriot. As a former mayor, I have integrity that's very important to me. So just want you to know that. But one candidate wrote a really nasty letter and so forth, that why we wouldn't, but that's why she's not going to be here. But anyways, we'll go from there.
We'll move on to her. So Elvira Meraz, she declined our invitation to be interviewed on our show, and that's fine. That's her prerogative. But she's the second candidate in District 1, real estate broker. I don't know her that well. I mean, we're in the same Kiwanis club. I've known her for about, I don't know, probably not even a year. I mean, I know you have thoughts.
Well, no, there's just, I mean, first of all, I thought it was interesting. Her ballot statement says business owner - mother. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
I've never seen a mother before.
I've never seen that before, because I think Dorothy's a mother. I think, Ramon's a dad. I think, Gil's a dad, or Nestle's a dad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a dad. So that's just kind of weird to highlight that, because that's probably the most important thing we do in life. So, okay, that's fair enough. She wrote us a nasty letter. I think when she was originally going to run, I was asked by Hans to give her a call. Hans didn't want to work on her campaign. And
Hans,
Hans, political consultant on there, because some things were coming out about her history and restraining orders and things like that. So I called her as a nice person on there, and she took that as bullying, and she wrote that in the email to you, that we couldn't be fair and that I had bullied her to try talking to. I didn't bully anybody, and Hans even said, he goes, my gosh, you called on my behalf. I was on the phone call, and we're trying to be nice to her. I didn't know her from before. She is listing out that the former mayor's coalition is endorsing her. Mm-hmm. We're not. I'm not. We're not. And I was one of the founders of that. So she's got maybe one mayor, former Mayor Cartosian on there that's running her campaign, but that's about it. So, and then we've all you got at the Patriot. I think all the council got, somehow I got. And I don't know if it's the ex-wife, her husband's ex-wife or something, but it was some police report on there which we can't verify, so I'm not going to go into further on there about being arrested years ago, but they said more to come. So all I said to her is like, look, we've heard this. You might want to think of this for your family, because it's going to come out. We didn't do it. There's a video going out. Somebody spent a lot of money to do this video and do the research and with the actual things and stuff. So she's got some enemies on there, but that's the only thing. I was surprised that she turned us down, but she didn't write that letter. That looks like it was written by her campaign man. But I take exception to the bullying part, because that's just not what we did. So that's the story on her. I've taken a lot of abuse for that, but it's here or there.
Okay. Next candidate, Horacio Ortiz. I know him a little bit. You know him better than I do, because you're both on the planning commission. Yeah. He's a restaurant owner. What can you tell us about Horacio?
Well, he came, he's his last name Ortiz. So the Ortiz family is the ones that owns the El Pescador, They're, big family, 11 brothers, from his dad to all his uncles and stuff. They're a good family. They got a great reputation. They run good businesses. He owns the Montebello restaurant on there, and he's been on the planning commission. I've been on the planning commission. He's been on there for a couple years. He's a pro-business. He's a young man. He's in his early 30s, energetic, smart, got a great list of endorsements on there. He's endorsed from, and the ones that it's important is Blanca Pacheco. To me, the people that had that seat before, when they're endorsing it means a lot. So Blanca's endorsing him for her old seat, Supervisor Hahn, I know Congressman Garcia, and so forth. And to be fair in the full sense of disclosure, I'm endorsing him as a former mayor, and he also has Mayor Pro Tem Mario Trujillo endorsing him. So Mario Trujillo and I couldn't be more opposites on policy decisions and so forth. But we both think that this is a good young man for this community. So I've endorsed him. But anyways, he's going to be really good for our city. And he's young, this kind of businessman we want in our city.
Okay, District 3, I'll go through the names. Also 3 candidates. We have Gil Legaspi, Dorothy Pemberton, and Ernesto Valle. Let's start with Gil Legaspi. I'm kind of putting you on the spot, but what are your thoughts on Gil Legaspi?
Well, what was his ballot statement that was officially?
His ballot designation is listed as police officer / businessman.
Yeah. So you and I were talking, and I think we talked at the end of the last show a little bit on there. I take exception to our city clerk and the designations that she allowed, and then kind of changing her tune on things, because originally it was like you had to do it for 25 hours a week. And that was just an interpretation by some lawyer. There is no code in there. And then now they said, well, that's just a reasonable amount. And now they changed it to 10 hours. So other people that followed that, went by that, weren't allowed to use their designations.
Right.
And we'll talk about it when it was Dory. So Gil is a reserve police officer, and he owns some real estate company here. So he's using police officer, but yet, so he wouldn't have qualified under the city clerk's initial designation policy, which, a city shouldn't be making policy. It should be whatever in the code, and it's up to the city council to make that and change that down there. So anyways, he seems like a nice guy. He's always smiling, and I don't know him. He kind of came on the scene in the last 6-9 months, and I didn't know him before that. So.
It seems, so talking about his police officer designation, he is a reserve LAPD officer. It seems strange that the city clerk would just make different rules, or rules that are very arbitrary. But now, politically, from like a political standpoint, I think it's smart and advantageous to him. Because remember, this is District 3, where the community just recalled Catherine Alvarez, who had her criminal record. Now, for a voter, you're going to go vote for her replacement, and you see a police officer, you might be inclined to vote for a police officer.
And that's why I think they pushed it on there. But again, the city clerk should have been a little bit, fairer on that. But I tell you, if you're a police officer here in Downey on there, are you happy about that? That he's saying is a police officer when you're a reserve police officer, which is like, I think once every 2 weeks, 1 day a week, every 2 weeks. But I don't take anything away from him. I mean, so it is what it is.
Career-wise, he's a real sweeper, commercial real sweeper.
Yeah, that's how you pay the bills.
Sure.
Yeah, of course. And that's what should be kind of thing. It's like, how do you really pay the bills?
Right.
But anyways.
So, and I have comments overall at the answer, remind me. So the second candidate, District 3, we have Dorothy Pemberton. She's listed as a small business owner, but she actually, she makes her money as a realtor, and she's also a substitute teacher.
She's a substitute teacher, and she's great. She's spent over 30 years doing things here in the city. I mean, she was, Seroptimus president, Girls Ponytail president, the PTA helps on there, the PTA. Yeah. She's just been so involved, and it's kind of like, she knows everybody and everything here in the city. She's a substitute teacher, and the city clerk wouldn't allow her to use that. Okay, but yet that's what I'm saying is it's like, okay, you make these arbitrary rules of what it is. So she's a substitute teacher. So her ballot statement is
small business owner.
Yeah, she's a substitute teacher for Downey Unified for many years.
I mean, that looks a lot better, but honestly, look, she's a realtor. That's how she pays the bills.
Of course, on there. But so anyways, so yeah, she's really involved. She led the recall drive, so she was the chairwoman of that. She helped get all the signatures and then raise all the money and everything else. So she's done a great job. So from that standpoint on there, she's kind of earned that because we kind of know what we have. Everybody else on there, you're not sure. I'm not putting down anybody's credibility. I'm just saying that Dorothy has committed herself towards it. Yeah. And a track record.
Sure.
And I think she's the Public Works Commissioner now. So she currently serves as a Public Works Commissioner.
Okay. Third and final candidate for District 3, Ernesto Valle.
Yeah.
He's listed as a business owner. I think he's in insurance.
I don't know his real occupation, to be honest.
Okay.
I think so. You might be right.
Okay.
He was president of Northwest Downey League for many, many years. So he seems like a good family person down there in the city. I just don't know him that well.
I had a conversation with him, and he seems very passionate. And he seems like somebody I think has great intentions, and he really wants to help his community. I think I'm not speaking for him, but this is just my impression, is that he sees the city council as his way of giving back more to the community. He did confirm to come on the show, so we'll be chatting with him a little bit more about what he wants to do for the city. I know he's big into helping children. I think and that's very admirable. So we'll talk with him more about what he wants to do in the city and how he plans to do it.
And I'm glad he's going to be on there, and Dorothy will be on there from that seat. Did you hear back from Horacio at all?
Horacio confirmed, yeah.
No, not from Gil.
Gil, no, not yet. As of this recording, you haven't confirmed.
He hasn't confirmed down there. Okay.
No, so we'll see.
And again, folks, we're going to, and you'll see it. You'll be able to judge the shows for themselves. And we're going to ask the same kind of questions about their vision for the city and so forth. And we'll want to let them answer. We're not a gotcha kind of show. Yeah. We give our opinions, but we're not here to embarrass anybody or put anybody on the spot.
So let me give my overall view of this and being as honest as I can. We have 6 candidates running for city council, 6 candidates running for 2 empty city council seats. From this list of 6 people, I only see one person that I know, that I recognize as having been really dedicated to the community, as having been volunteering for years and for really kind of putting their time in. Not somebody who showed up, 6-12 months ago and started joining service clubs, starting taking the photo ops, and starting all the things that you traditionally would do. I only see one person that I recognize long term, and that's Dorothy Pemberton. Dorothy is the person when I came to Downey in 2002 and started working as a Patriot, back then she was already heavily involved. And I think part of it is because she has 2 daughters, and as she was raising them, they were super involved in the community. So was Dorothy. And I've come across her so many times in terms of, at the Assistance League and different organizations. If you're like at a fundraiser in Downey, Dorothy's probably going to be there. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't automatically mean that she's the best candidate. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying is she's a person that I recognize from this list, and I believe her intentions are 100% genuine. I'm not saying the other ones aren't, but I can speak for her that she actually has the community's best interests at heart, and I think she really wants to help her community. Because, the funny part is we've both known Dorothy for a long time. Is our question was, well, why do you want to do this? Because she has her life going on. She has her personal life, and she works really hard as a realtor, and then she does her volunteering. Like, why do you want to do this? But I think it's because she really wants to help the community. So that's my honest assessment. Out of these 6 candidates, Dorothy's name jumps out at me. The other candidates, I hope they're running for the right reasons, and I think they are. I just can't really speak to their credibility. I just can't.
The one thing that always struck me, last year in the middle of the summer months, when Dorothy, again, it's not a paid thing on there, would be taking the time to help get 4,500 signatures for the recall, which is a task, and having all those hours. But to go out there and knock on doors to get people to signatures, and then later on to run it just shows you me the commitment. That was a big commitment. No other candidate on here, they all say, "Oh, I donated money," or "I'm supporting the recall," but she got her hands dirty and actually sweated.
She cared enough because she wanted a good, honest person on the city council.
Yeah.
I think that's all we want.
And that's fair.
That's all we want. Even if we disagree with them, we just want honesty on the city council.
Yeah. So, no, I think that's an interesting valuation on there. For me, I'm supporting Dorothy for a lot of those same reasons. I think she's earned it from that. She didn't just come on lately and so forth. And then I'm supporting Horacio because I think we need strong business-minded young people like that have a proven track record. And and it's interesting is whether we agree politically, ideology, or not. I think he's the best candidate, so I trust him. So I've been supporting him too, and I gave him my endorsement.
I'm looking forward to talking to each of the candidates more leading up to election day.
You're going to get a chance to see it here. We just gave you this. Just came out. The list was official the other day. So this is their titles. This is the official names that are going to be on the ballot. The ballot's interesting is because they're going to be separate ballots. The people in District 3 will not see candidate statements from people in District 1 and vice versa.
Yeah.
You're going to get in. And again, if nothing else, folks, turn out and vote. Okay, it's going to be simple to vote. You can do it by mail. Comes out in early October, and then the election day in November. But you think about it, there's only one ballot, and there's only one thing to vote. There's literally one thing to vote. It's one of the three people on each side.
Yeah.
So it could never be more important. And remember, Downey folks, when we didn't do that, we got Catherine Alvarez, and then we had the recall and everything else. So please consider that.
This is kind of exciting and historic in a way, because this is almost the final piece of Downey's kind of reorganization effort, because Downey's been in flux for the past couple of years.
Yeah.
This is the final step. We're finally going to have a permanent council member, District 1. Right now it's Timothy Horn. But he's only been like a stopgap.
Yeah.
He'll be he'll be replaced with a permanent council member.
Right.
We'll have another council member, District 3. So we're actually going to have a full city council. They're going to join Mario Trujillo and
Hector Sosa
and Claudia Fermetta. So we're going to have five elected officials who can actually start moving, hopefully, the city forward.
You know what's crazy? That this is only like the third year of Catherine Alvarez's term, and look at how much damage was done to our city. I mean, a city manager, Gilbert Levis, city attorney, all the department heads. Now, having said that, from only a working minimal standpoint, I like the new city manager, Roger Bradley. So they made a good choice there. It was a smaller group making that decision, so that's good.
Right.
So I like him, and I like the direction the city's going with some of the new department heads. But you're right; there's some more stability going to be there.
Absolutely.
So.
And the weird part. So these we didn't mention. So these special elections, it's only to finish their terms, right?
It's only to finish their terms.
Yeah.
Another same thing that's happening right now is going to happen next year, 2024. But that'll be a crazy election because you're going to have a presidential election, and you got U.S. senators, and you got assembly, and you got all these different things, and there'll probably be 15 propositions. Right. So you're going to have all this, and then these. This elections to do that. Right. Now, again, these candidates, important to win now. You got some name ID, you get your feet wet, you're running with the city gets to know you, and you have a track record. And that's why I think some of the people, that's why it's so important for me is, Dorothy has a track record, Horacio has a track record of votes, actually voting on there. So that makes a big difference. Yeah. So anyways, but all right, folks, listen, I hope everything is, I know we get messages here. Folks, I hope this was helpful to you. Yes, we gave you our opinions, but we're trying to be objective and giving you honest opinion. Feel free to contact us, call us, by the way, for ideas, thoughts on this election, on our show. We're proudly sponsored by Financial Partners Credit Union. They've been a long time sponsor. Well, the first sponsor of our show. And I hope that this show helps. And, please feel free to touch bases with us.
If you have any questions that you want us to ask the candidates, drop it in the comments or, send us a DM. We want to hear from you too.
Yeah, that's great. By the way, our cell numbers, at least mine, I don't know if you don't give. He doesn't give out his newspaper.
I don't want you calling. Look, I don't want our listeners calling my cell phone.
Okay, I'm the opposite. Okay, my cell number is 562-706-4114. 562-706-4114. Text me, send me a message, or call me. I will always pick up and listen to you on there. And I have nothing that I have no problems talking to you. I used to do that in the city. You used to make fun of me. When you used to publish in your paper, my story. So anyway,
you can reach me at talkingdowney@gmail.com.
There you go. We're both accessible. So listen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Talking Downey with Mario
and Eric.